Hello, my name is Ron Kaufman. I'm a Microsoft customer, and I have been since the days of DOS. I'm also a shareholder of the Microsoft Corporation. And I'm concerned about Microsoft's ability to compete and win as we go forward into the future. So I'd like to talk to you today about some things that I notice in the Microsoft culture and some changes that I think we should look at seriously to help us compete in a very dynamic future environment. My intention in this video is to be provocative, but not to be disrespectful. So let's begin. I think there are some fundamental linguistic distinctions that reveal a certain point of view of people who work at Microsoft. I think some of these need to change. Here's an example. You may have heard of the program called Last Mile Excellence. It's completely understandable why we would call it last mile. After all the software development, the beta testing, after the licensing design, the marketing program is developed, of course we want that last mile as our programs go out to partners, as our products go out to customers. We want that to be a great experience. But if we look at it from the partner or the customer's point of view, it's never the last mile. It's always the first mile. Now, if we start talking about it as first mile excellence, naturally it will cause us to start to think, what's the second mile? What's the third mile? What's the next mile? And that's what customers and partners see. I think we may want to look at it that way as well. It shows up in other parts of our language. For example, we talk about landing something at the customer. Well, that's a very inside-out point of view. Everybody else sees it another way. For example, I was on a conference call with a Microsoft employee, and there was some noise in the background. She said, "Oh, please excuse me, I'm just landing the car at home." I laughed because only someone from Microsoft would say I'm landing the car. Most people in the world would say I'm arriving at home. And if we look at the environment of people who live and work around that person, no one says, "Mommy's landing." They would say, "Mommy's arriving. She's back home." Now, this point of view shows up in many other areas. For example, when we make the decision that it's time to reduce support or finally stop supporting an old version of a product, what do we call it to the world? End of life. Now, end of life to most people means death. And I think that if I'm running software and my business is running on the software, I've got all my personal activities going there, I've learned how all the compatibility works, the keystrokes are familiar, I've worked out all of the various issues, and then I hear that my software has reached end of life, that's not a good thing. And if the software is going to die, well then maybe it's time for me to look and think about using something else. So what should we call it instead? Instead of end of life, why don't we call it time to upgrade? Upgrade is a good thing. It causes people to say, what's in the upgrade? What are the benefits of the upgrade? What am I going to get out of upgrading? How do I upgrade? It's a linguistic distinction, but it reveals a point of view. Now, where did that come from? The Microsoft culture, historically, is very developer-centric. It makes sense. Chief software architect. Thousands of software developers, some of the best in the world, working in and at the Microsoft Corporation. But in today's world, software is becoming, well, commoditized. In fact, a lot of it is for free, and it's not bad. So where should our focus be? Should we be looking from the inside out, or instead from the outside, in which case our focus would be on the customer and partner experience? That's why we call it CPE. The customer and partner's experience, it's not just operations job. It's not just the people out there in the, was it last mile or is it now the first mile? No, it's everyone inside the organization. Actually, this is insidious. Let me show you how deep we have to dig to make this change. When a customer does the wrong thing on a program, when they make a mistake, what do we call it? User error, like it's their fault. Well, from the customer's point of view, it's not user error, it's a confused customer. And from their standpoint, it's our job to make that confusion go away. Here's another example. If someone goes into their hard drive or they go out on the net and they want to get something, what do we call it? Search. But is search really what customers want to do? No. No one really wants to go up on a Vista and look for something. What do they want to do? They want to find. And when we find what we're looking for, what do we say? Bing! So you can see Microsoft is moving in the right direction. And not only in terms of specific great products like Bing, but also in terms of the entire mission, the focus, the objective of the Microsoft Corporation. What did we used to say? A computer on every desk running Microsoft software. That's what it was. That's what we were aiming for. But it's been achieved. Computers are everywhere, and now the software is not just on computers, it's on all sorts of other devices. So we've changed the mission. And what is it today? Enabling people and businesses throughout the world to realize their full potential. Now that's a mission that I can get behind. That's a mission that's focused on other people's success and doing everything we can do to enable that potential to succeed. Now here's the magnitude of the shift we really need to make. There's a huge focus at Microsoft on customer satisfaction, and that's understandable. But I'm here to tell you it's also obsolete. CSAT, from many, many years ago, was based on a premise that a satisfied customer would be a loyal customer. But we know today that that's not always true. Customers can be very satisfied, but it doesn't mean that they're going to stay with you in the future. So where should our focus be? Customer satisfaction or customer loyalty? And by customer loyalty, it doesn't just mean that they upgrade. It means that they upgrade, refer, recommend, speak on behalf of, act as an advocate, as an ambassador. They engage, they contribute, they participate in a way where people say, I love being part of this entire Microsoft world. That's where I live. That's where I do my business. That's where my full potential becomes real. Now, how are we going to make that happen? Every single person in the Microsoft Corporation and all of our partners around the world need to focus on making Microsoft easy to do business with. So there's nothing in the way. There's nothing stopping people from engaging with and enjoying their experience with Microsoft. And let me take it one step further. It's not just a question of making it easy to do business with Microsoft, but to have their experience with Microsoft say to each and every partner and customer throughout the world that Microsoft is an organization that cares about me. Now let's face it, that's emotional. But when you enable someone to realize their full potential, it's not just technical anymore. It is an emotional phenomenon. And to succeed, that's where Microsoft needs to go. A customer and partner experience-oriented culture, a superior service culture that creates the kind of experiences that give us an ongoing, sustainable, competitive advantage. That's what I think. What do you think?